Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Hospitable Hosts podcast. Today, I am speaking with Julie Marks from the Right to Rent Collaborative, and we're learning all about associations and how you can get involved. The Right to Rent Collaborative recently integrated with Hospitable, and you can simply donate $2 for every reservation with our integration. We're going to find out why you might be interested in doing that on this episode. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Okay, hello, Julie. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Miles. I'm doing great. Excited to talk about right to rent.
Nice, awesome. So I guess we'll start with where are you calling in from today, Julie? Where are you joining us?
I am calling in from beautiful Jericho, Vermont. The foliage is near peaking, as we say.
Nice.
So, it's a great time to be here.
Interesting. I guess you're a bit further north than me. I'm in Toronto. It's early days of foliage changing for
Mm.
us. So we're not there yet, but I can feel it changing for sure. It's starting to turn.
Yes, it's a beautiful time of year. Peak
Yeah.
tourism season for us.
Yes, for sure. I'm sure it is in Vermont. Awesome. So we're not here to promote Vermont, not exclusively,
Little.
really. And please do visit. It's lovely. I know you're involved, obviously, with the Vermont Short-Term Rental Association as well. But we're going to focus mostly on the Right to Rent Collaborative today. So to start off, this is obviously kind of a new thing for our audience, I think, for many of our audience. We recently integrated with a Right to Rent Collaborative, or you guys integrated with us. Can you maybe just give us a bit of a background on what the Right to Rent Collaborative is?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Right to Rent Collaborative is a new organization. Started, officially, we launched in May of this year, and it is solely dedicated to providing funding for associations who are advocating for the short-term rental industry.
Mm. And what's the reason behind creating that? Because there's obviously a number of associations already. Kind of what was the reason for creating this collaborative?
Yeah, well, if you are a short term rental host, owner, manager, maybe an employee of
Mm.
one of those businesses in the industry, and you have not encountered regulations in your community, then you're probably not looking hard enough because regulations are happening in every planning commission meeting room, city hall, state house around the country more and more every day and around the
Mm.
world. And the the honest truth of our situation right now as an industry is that we're not organized. We are decades behind having local and state representation in these policy discussions. You think about industries like the hotel industry or the real estate industry, they have deep rooted associations across the country at all levels, chapters down to, every single town. So that they have a voice in those conversations, and vacation rentals just don't. Like, we're just starting. And so really the driving force behind the Right Trend Collaborative was recognizing that we need to play catch up and we need to get organized and start forming associations at every single level, local, state, and national, so that no matter where we are, we have a voice, we're represented. And the biggest barrier to getting going is funding, is
Mm.
startup funding. It's a full-time job to start and run an association, and we've been heavily relying on just the volunteer time of a couple of engaged property managers or homeowners here and there. And they burn out. And so we really, regulations are the driving force. But ultimately, the response that we want to see is community building,
Yeah.
association building, to really be a part of those regulatory discussions.
Nice. And just kind of talking there, obviously, you talked about a lot of volunteers being involved. how is the organization, I guess, structured, and how does that work? How is it run? Obviously, like you said, it's kind of. I'll let you talk about it, I guess. But yeah, maybe explain a bit more of the mechanics of that and how an organization like yours is kind of managed.
So the Right to Rent Collaborative
Hmm.
organization,
Yeah.
so we are run by a volunteer board of directors. I'm currently serving as the president of the board, but we have three other fantastic board members from other parts of the industry that were part of the founding of this association. And we have also recruited a volunteer advisory committee board to help us with the grant creation and approval process. Um, and then we have also hired Rent Responsibly for association management services. So they
Mhm.
are really doing the work to make this all possible.
Nice, awesome. And obviously, part of the initiatives that you do, you kind of talk there about the grants. Can you maybe tell us what are the types of grants that you are kind of managing and giving out, and like who's getting those grants, basically?
Yeah. So again, this is our bread and butter. This is really
Hmm.
the sole initiative that this organization was created to do is provide funding for associations who are doing the work on the ground to protect the industry. And so we have created a number of um, grant opportunities that focus on different stages of an association. So for example, we have a seed grant for those who haven't started an association yet, but are in those early startup days and need a little Kickstarter funding
Yeah.
to get going. Then we have our next level is our growth grant. That is available to associations who have already taken those first steps, but are still in the early years of developing and growing. So we want to provide support to those associations to either help reimburse them for the costs that many volunteers have put in out of pocket to get going, or help them kind of kickstart into the next level of
Hmm.
creating a sustainable association. And then we have our sustainability grants, which are for more well established associations who are looking for longer term capacity building. So this is about like hiring additional staff or maybe hosting a statewide event. Really, we're not in the business of telling associations how to use the money. We are recognizing that every association, every community is unique in what it needs, and a real kind of barrier in a lot of other grant programs is that funding is not available for essential costs like operations and admin and
Hmm.
salaries. And these, from an association's perspective, which I personally can speak to, is these are the critical funding needs that an association has to be successful. You cannot rely on people doing this for free for very long. They need to get paid. Again, it's a job. And it really, we're trying to create easy, quick, and efficient resources for folks so they can spend less time fundraising and more time advocating.
Nice. Okay. And this is kind of an obvious question, but why should owner operators get involved, and how can they get involved?
Well, there's a lot of ways that owners can get involved, especially your owners with Hospitable. They should definitely talk to their customer service rep about turning on the Right to Rent feature and becoming a part of the Right to Rent program. This enables a $2 per reservation donation to go automatically to the Right to Rent Collaborative, supporting associations all over the country. Another way to get involved, if anybody is interested in taking on a leadership role, we are going to be holding cycles of elections for new board seats, for positions on advisory committee spots, and then also as a nonprofit ourselves, we're always looking for in-kind donations to help us reduce our costs, our administrative costs as well.
Awesome. And yeah, what I'll do is actually I'll drop the help article in the episode description for anyone that does want to connect their account and automatically do that $2 transfer per reservation. Basically, it's as simple as connecting your account to Right to Rent Collaborative and basically just adding an extra $2 fee to each reservation. You can do that in your settings. I'll share the help article. Super easy to follow. And obviously reach out to our support team if there are any questions around that as well. So yeah, I guess it'd be good to understand, beyond the financial donations, getting involved. How do we get started with getting involved if we're like, yeah, I want to be more active in my community and part of the advocacy groups? What's maybe the first step of doing that and kind of volunteering?
Yeah, so number one is to figure out whether or not there's already an association running in your area. The Rent Responsibly website has a great directory of associations and alliances that they're aware of, at least around the country. I believe there are many at different scales. All the way from an HOA level to state level to obviously the national associations like VRMA and VR Nation. So that would be number one, is figuring out who's in your area, and obviously getting involved, typically through membership or volunteering. If you don't find an association that's representing your area, then come to us. We would love to help you get going to start one. Again, our big vision, our long-term vision, is to have 50 statewide associations that are connected, collaborating, and well-funded through sustainable revenue streams, such as the Right to Rent program.
Nice, awesome. And then I was going to ask, and you said 50 states there, so you probably answered my question. Currently, purely US focused, the Right to Rent Collaborative. And I guess follow up with that, any thoughts of going, elsewhere as well?
Yes and yes. For now, the focus is U.S. primarily, but we really have no reason to stop there, especially if the industry adopts this model and we get collective buy-in from everybody who's playing. I think this is a very replicable model to take across international boundaries. So, nice. We will see how it goes. In our first year, we've already distributed over $100,000 to 9 different associations, a few of which are in their new early creation stages. So, that's really exciting to see. By the end of this year and for years to come, we'll be tracking that growth and be able to really demonstrate the value and the ROI in advocacy by showing the number of associations that have been created, sustained, and then the growth in the memberships within those associations. So really, it's about bringing more connections, more community, more visibility to this industry, because it's huge, and right now it's largely invisible, and we're going to see that change.
Nice. And then, maybe there's to bring more visibility, I guess, like, do you have any examples of success stories where associations have kind of been influential on, maybe it's, overruling restrictive regulation or something like that that's had an impact in the industry?
Absolutely. I mean, there are more and more examples coming to fruition every day, especially as associations become more supported by the industry. There's a great example in Colorado last year or the year before, defeating a big statewide bill that would have, I think, added over 20% taxes on vacation rentals. Similarly, Missouri is making great progress towards proactively working with their state legislature to protect vacation rental status. And locally, we see all the time just the community involvement in those municipal or county level government discussions can really go a long way in preventing unfair regulations from even coming onto the books. So there's there's a growing library of success stories, and challenges and
Mhm.
losses. I'm not going to sugarcoat that we win all the time. This is a really challenging issue and kind of uncharted in many ways from
Yeah.
a legal perspective. And so we're starting to see that play out more and more. And those litigations and court rulings are something that are in our future. They are inevitable, but having local advocates on the ground to be a part of that process is much more productive and community centric than relying on big companies, outside companies running that narrative. We see time and time again that uh, local matters. Politics are all local.
Mhm.
Short-term rental regulations are all politics. And so it's just so important that the local community has a face with their local elected officials, so that we don't get painted as a mysterious, unknown foreign entity. And having the support of a collective association and organization in your community of trusted, like-minded hosts is just so essential to coordinating that and getting that accomplished.
Nice, awesome. What would you say then is what is like the long term goal of the collaborative and your vision of short term rentals and the industry in general?
I mean, again, the big vision is just to have a presence in every state, in
Mm.
every region, in every market, and that's for multiple reasons. I mean, as an association in Vermont, we really do three core things. We lobby and advocate, so we're there for as a trusted resource for governments, for the media, and for the general public, but we're also educating our community on best practices, on evolving technologies, on regulation and safety changes, and we're building a community and bringing people together so that they're not doing this alone. And so, community building and partnership building is huge, and it just strengthens the appreciation for this industry with local communities. Once local businesses can really feel the positive effects that short-term rentals have on their bottom line, then they're not going to be that voice that's driving them, into restricted regulatory environments. So long term, we really want to see this industry respected and part of the conversation in every policy making discussion. But more so, it's also about creating a global network for everybody in this industry. I know it crosses boundaries, whether you're in the seat of providing a place, a vacation rental, or staying in a vacation rental.
Mhm.
It's just a part of travel and hospitality that we all love, and it's about really creating a home for everybody in this industry.
Nice. I love it. Awesome. So I think that's all we have time for today, but I'll do a final call out. Please do check out the Right to Rent Collaborative. Like I say, the help article is linked below on how you connect your Hospitable account. I think the Right to Rent Collaborative is integrated with a few other property management software as well. So even if you don't use Hospitable, you should be able to kind of automate that process and that donation there, or just go and give directly on the website as well, I guess.
That's right. And I'll say, if your PMS isn't plugged into the Right Trend program yet, please encourage them to do so. We are onboarding more and more PMS companies every day, which is very exciting. And that is just really how we're going to generate this kind of long-term sustainable funding stream for every association in the country. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us, Julie.
My pleasure, Miles. Really appreciate partnering with you with the Right Trend Collaborative and everything that Hospitable is doing to support advocacy. It really goes a long way.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks again for listening to today's episode. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and listen out for a new episode dropping real soon.